What is up, ladies and gentlemen? Steven Osentoski here of the Maize and Blue Review, bringing you another episode here of Views from the Bench. CJ Baird joining me here, going to walk through a few plays from the beatdown of the Huskers, opening up conference play with a bang. CJ, real quick before we dive in here, give me your thoughts of what I would argue is the best performance from the Wolverines we've seen this year.
And like you said, I thought it was the best performance I've seen this year too. And although people are kind of writing it off because it's playing against Nebraska, who's obviously not a strong team, I think it's a really good confidence builder for this team. There's clearly been some building pieces, which you and I will go through very shortly. So I'm pretty excited for the future of these guys.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, let's dive into the plays.
Nowhere to be seen on that defensive possession. And with John scoring as much as he has, we've not seen much of Hunter Dickinson so far. He's not had a shot, and now John's trying to feed the post. Against Walker, who got a foul earlier. Houston down the baseline.
Here we get to see the strategy for Nebraska down on Dickinson. They're going for the double team. Michigan takes advantage. CJ, walk us through it.
Yeah, so actually this is something that I thought Michigan did a really good job of this game. Getting Hunter Dickinson the ball in the post and actually having more weak side action. So as you can see, there's a lot going on here, but as Brandon Johns catches the ball on the wing, you have Devontae Jones and Caleb Houston kind of running this like light exchange action on the side here. So they're kind of just moving in sync with each other, trying to make sure they're like in the good part of the play. So you see what Caleb does here is he actually just kind of a decoy. He runs through and to my understanding, he's kind of open right here. The defender's not really looking. He's really just like cut to the basket, and it creates a little bit of hesitation on the part of Nebraska. You can see both guys are playing in their gaps. And they're like, oh, he's going to the rim. Like now I got to kind of help back a little bit, take a little hesitation out of it. So if you roll it again even more, Brandon Johns comes over and he actually runs this little dribble handoff, which results in a double screen where him and Hunter are supposed to be setting the ball screen here. So as you can see, Nebraska's number one that's guarding Devontae Jones goes under both screens, which is something you'll see a lot for the rest of this year. They don't fear Devontae as a shooter, so they're going to try to make him become a shooter by going under these screens here. So this actually works out in Michigan's favor because they're going under many screens, but Nebraska actually clearly miscommunicates, and they're trying to switch the screen. And so what happens was the guy that's guarding Brandon is going to try to step out on Devontae here, while number one is going to go out and guard Brandon. So as the pass comes across here, Hunter Dickinson rolls to the post. And this is what I really wanted to key on is when Brandon Johns throws him the ball here. Nebraska where they're trying to double Hunter off the guy they thought the weakest shooter was. So they thought in this scenario, like, okay, we're going to look at Devontae as a potential double option or the guy that's guarding Brandon as a double option. So what Brandon does here is really key. He actually runs over and pretends like he's going to set a screen for Devontae. You see his hands coming up like, I'm going to go set this screen. So once he starts cutting over, number 11 on Nebraska, if you roll it back even a little bit, he just says to number one, okay, his right hand flicks. He's like, just go double him. I can handle this now because you're the closest guy there. So once he leaves, Brandon recognizes that and cuts to the rim. This recognition is huge because now number 11 is like holding Brandon, like he's hugging him in the paint. And that's huge for them because now you have three guys on the perimeter with two guys essentially guarding them. And look at how close two guys are guarding Hunter, and then all the Nebraska defenders are around the paint. So Hunter, being the great passer that he is, he sees those three guys in the wing that Steven just circled, and he throws a great pass to Eli Brooks and forces a tough rotation that needs to be made by Nebraska here. So number 30 is kind of looking at the ball, and he says, I'm going to get the first pass. And obviously number 5, Bryce McGowens, is late on his rotation to Caleb Houston, and he gets really easy drive and score at the basket.
Yeah, and it's not it's not the worst reaction to this. You mentioned all 5 bodies here close to the paint. Pretty decent challenge out to the wing here, right? This is probably not enough space for Eli Brooks, so he delivers here. I think it's just the path here for McGowens along the baseline. If he takes a more straight path there, he is responding quickly enough to challenge that pass from Caleb Houston. I think this is just a next level recognition of, that path for McGowens, he's too far away from the baseline here, and he takes advantage of that. And then Again, spacing maybe could have been improved, but you do see Dickinson as well here, right? If Caleb Houston really doesn't want to challenge this, you got a free running Dickinson down in the paint as well. So you have that even if he, isn't the 5-star freshman that he is and can make that finish.
Yep. And that's taught too, actually. That little cut you mentioned about Hunter, that's taught. So when you see a guard drive baseline, if you're a big man and you fill towards the middle, it gives them an extra option if they can't score. So you can see him takes a little banana cut, and he would have been open if you don't have a 5-star freshman that can make that tough finish.
Yeah, absolutely.
Inside the paint, it just made that shot a little bit more difficult. You can see we've seen Breidenbach make shots with his left hand at the rim. That time he went to his right.
Dickinson doubled there quickly on the kick out. Williams.
Nice 3-pointer here for Terrence Williams. And we were just talking off air here. Give the ball to Dickinson top of the key and see what happens. So talk us through, CJ, what happens here?
Yeah, so actually this is a pretty common set for Michigan. They often have Hunter have the ball in the middle of the floor because he's such a great passer. I mean, he can make those reads at his side, and he's really accurate with the ball. But the newest layer to this play, which I think is really interesting, is guys that, like, now that Hunter had 3 threes, he went 3 of 3 from 3 against San Diego State. So now they have to respect him as a shooter. So a lot of times in the first couple of games, what was really interesting was when they'd run plays like this, you often see Hunter in the middle of the key or at the top of the key catching the ball. But now you see, as he catches the ball here, Nebraska's defender is all the way up on him. So he's not giving him any space anymore. Like, usually Hunter could just turn around and face up and shoot that. But now this is what I think Coach Howard did a really good job taking advantage of, was guys that were really trying to overplay Hunter here. There's so much space, as Steven just circled it out there. I mean, Hunter can just spin around, and this guy's got to stay with him because he's got to respect the shot.
Right. So
as he catches it, he turns and looks on the weak side here. You can see Eli Brooks and Terrence Williams at the top of the screen doing a little exchange here. A lot of this is just kind of like keeping the defense moving, because see, like, all these guys in Nebraska are really focused on the guys they're guarding, because there's so much movement going on. They don't have time to really worry about what they're doing to help defense. They really have to watch what their guy's doing. So Hunter makes a couple great turns here, and there's obviously a lot of cutting. But when he advances the ball to Frankie over here on the wing, this is where the play really gets interesting again. So like I said earlier, Frankie catching the ball on the wing here, and Hunter's guy being all the way up on him actually makes it an easier screen for Eli Brooks. So now you can see Eli's got a better screening angle on Hunter's man here because he's guarding him. In past games, what had happened was guys were just, like, Hunter's defenders were just standing in the paint. And this play would never have worked because you can't really screen a guy that's already in the paint. He's already going to be there. You can get over it and stop the catch from happening altogether.
Right.
But now this man has to chase him, and Frankie Collins throws an absolute dime of a pass, leads Hunter under the rim, which actually forces Nebraska into kind of what we used to call a natural double. Like, when he catches the ball there, you can't leave him. Like, you can't just give up the basket if you're number 10 on Nebraska. So you're forced into a double team. And so Hunter, once again, plays patient. He stops, and these two guys are obviously under the basket, protecting an easy layup. And Hunter makes the right read once again. He sees both of these defenders and on the outside and 3 Michigan players on the perimeter. So as you can see here, number 32 on Nebraska with the kid with the goggles right here is so focused on where Hunter is going. He is staring at Hunter. He is looking at, okay, this is where I'm about to go. And Hunter, so smartly and ever so slightly, has a pass fake in here. So that pass fake right here drew number 32 out to Eli. I don't even know if this kid realized where the pass was going or if he even left his hands. He just saw him fake that way, and he immediately starts jogging over to Eli like, I'm going to guard him. So there he is, and now, once again, easy, good skip pass by Hunter Dickinson, and Terrence Williams, who shot very well, was left wide open, and easy bucket for Michigan.
Yeah, and it's interesting. They put number 5 again, McGowan's, right? I believe he's a freshman, right? He's also a fellow 5-star. Put him in conflict on this play. Now, I think it more happens that both these plays put him in conflict here, but he has to make a really tough decision. Terrence Williams starting to turn up the heat from distance here. So, yeah, you probably want to close on that, but what did he just have on that last play? He just tried to close out on Caleb Houston on the perimeter and just got burned for a basket, right? So there's really no easy choice for him in this regard on who you choose. And The more that Michigan hits these threes with these different players like Terrence Williams, like Hunter Dickinson, I think it just continues to open up a lot of options for your offense.
Absolutely. And I think something that's interesting is the way number like Bryce McGowan's on Nebraska actually closes out to in between both players. So like you said before, he kind of took that funky cut in the first play and got burned baseline because he took that cut. McGowan's was trying to play the pass here. He closes out in between guys and says, okay, I'd rather let him shoot this, but if he's not confident in his shot, then I can just pick this pass off that's going to go across the middle here.
Right.
But Terrence doing a great job of just staying confident and shooting in the flow of the game, and it looks really smooth.
Yeah.
Man, this is an exceptional effort by Alonzo Verge. Every possession, he is the center of attention, and he still put up a huge number with 25. Oh.
This became the Brooks versus Verge battle in a little bit here in this play, specifically designed, to my eyes, to get Eli Brooks open. Talk us through, CJ.
Yeah, so actually what it was interesting before this point, I think Eli was 0 of 7 from 3 going to the second half, and he saw a free throw go through. The second he saw a free throw go through, he hit a corner 3, and then Coach Howard sees the confidence in him and calls this play for him, which results in another Michigan basket. So as he feeds Terrence Williams here, the tough thing for Michigan now is a lot of teams have been like forcing their catches far away from the basket. So as you can see, Terrence Williams is pretty far away from the basket, and Hunter sets a far away screen. But actually, like Steven just drew there, this screen being far away plays to Michigan's advantage because Eli Brooks' speed cutting to the rim causes a lot of problems for other teams. So now he's got a head start. He's got a lot of time to get to the rim and create some space between him and his defender. So Eli's cutting fast, which I think Michigan does really well. He's running hard to the rim, and Terrence advances the ball here. So what happens is they're just looking for Eli Brooks to come off multiple screens. So he's already looping. He's already looping around this screen here. And Nebraska, which was switching most of the night, they're like pointing a lot. So number 30 that's guarding Eli is going to start pointing to his number 0 and say, like, you got to go out there and get him. Like, there he goes. There goes Eli Brooks. And what Nebraska incorrectly did as well was I think they just assumed that after Eli's like 1 of 8 from 3 at this point, that we can just go under the screen and we won't get punished. Well, good shooters keep shooting, and number 0 tries to go under the screen on Terrence Williams right here. And Terrence has a great screen, doesn't let him get around it. And Eli just takes a quick adjustment and hits the 3. I think Nebraska, unfortunately for them, was kind of just assuming that if you shoot poorly early on, it's going to carry on for the whole game. And Eli Brooks, being just a solid player, very calm, was never rattled at this point. He already seen one go through now, and there it is. I mean, he's wide open 3 and gives Michigan actually a quite needed bucket. Nebraska was kind of cutting into it a little bit at this point, around 15, 17-point lead, and this kind of just put it away.
Yeah, it's interesting. I don't know, and maybe you can shed some light. After, number 30 pointing for the switch here, maybe number 0 is thinking that Eli Brooks is going to continue around, right? Like continue around towards the top of the key here, because his switch after this, he's coming off of Houston here. He's going to like kind of just purposefully run into Terrence Williams and not even really challenge here. So I think the path of Eli Brooks, he does look like he's selling it a little bit that he's going to, maybe not catch it and look to shoot right away. He takes kind of this like one additional step back towards the wing here. But it just seems like poor defense from number 0 from my eyes to not, to try to like go under Terrence Williams in this case instead of challenging right here. But I guess to your point, he hasn't shot that well from the 3-point line in this game. So maybe thought, that wasn't the initial threat there.
And you're right. I think traditionally, like if they're coming for a dribble handoff, it's a lot easier to go under a couple of screens here. Mm-hmm. And this is something that you'll actually see Purdue run a lot. Purdue runs these dribble handoff plays, and like Zach Edey and Travion Williams at the top of the key here. And they have excellent shooters come off for this particular read. So they're expecting the dribble handoff, but then Eli just takes that little step back and he's open. Purdue does a really good job of that, and I think Michigan's been doing it really well this year. They've been running a lot of dribble handoffs for Caleb Houston as well as Eli Brooks, trying to create some space for themselves and get them downhill. But when guys are expecting the downhill drive, they're going to try to go under all the screens, and this is what happens.
Nice. Yep. All right. Thank you, CJ Baird, for hopping on, explaining a few plays. What are any final thoughts you have from this blowout victory over the Cornhuskers?
Yeah, so I mean, like I mentioned, it's a couple of these plays. They're doing a really good job of reading double teams, getting Hunter the ball in advantageous positions. We'll be interested to see how the rest of the Big Ten season goes out. But I wanted to shout out a couple of my walk-on buddies that got in against Nebraska.
Yeah.
Always love seeing the walk-ons get in and get some baskets. So Ian Burns, congrats on the first career assist, and hopefully many more to come.
Yeah, that was great to see. Love to see those guys play, and we got to start calling that the CJ whenever some walk-ons start to really, show out on the court there. So we'll call that the CJ. All right.
The true CJ would be having no assists too, and just chucking the shots up all the time. So that would be the true CJ.
A CJ comes in different forms. All right. All right. Thanks for joining us, and we'll catch you next time, CJ. Thanks again.
Thank you.
Go Blue.